It's good to be here after about a year. I wanted to show you guys my family. It's a little different than the last time you saw us. This is Anna, our oldest. Anyone say hi? This is Finn. And this is Ava. Ava's 1. She technically was born here. And but yeah, it's been a while, but we wanted to say hi and show you guys our kids after the last year. I think he thought he was preaching. He is a daddy's boy, which is cool. Ava, I don't know if she likes me yet, but it's good to be back. It's kind of like a memory coming back. It's only been a year, but it's felt a lot longer than that. I don't know if anybody else feels like that. Like the past year or two has felt like a decade. I'm starting to get gray hair. Life is moving forward, but it's good. It's good to see you guys. It's been cool. We've been here since Wednesday. I don't even know. Even the week's been long. It's been cool getting to see people. It's our kids' spring break because we have 2 kids in preschool, and we're like, well, we're on break. Let's just come back and see you guys. And it really is such a blessing to have a family just a few hours down the road. And that's definitely how we feel, how we felt is, man, this is our family. And it was only 6 years, but it was a long 6 years, and it was a bonding 6 years. And God's kingdom is so cool like that. That no matter where we go, we're still family. Whether we're across the world or, a couple hours down the road, like we're family. And it's so cool. I loved, it's been crazy, even seeing the stuff with Ukraine, and like the world is doing terrible things. This has nothing to do with us. The world's doing terrible things, but God is moving through his family. And in St. Louis, we support churches in Siberia, Russia. And so it's crazy as we hear all this stuff happening in Ukraine, and then we get to hear all this stuff happening in Russia, and just the way that, people are suffering in both countries, but the way that they're unified, and that people in Russia are praying with people in Ukraine, and they're unified, and they're bringing God's kingdom here to earth more and more, while our leaders are bringing more hell here to earth, right? It's just so cool the way that God's family and kingdom works, and I definitely feel that here, that this is a family that's bringing heaven here, and we're really grateful to see you guys and be able to talk a little bit.
Yeah, it's been fun being here and connecting. I went to Burger Up with Alyssa, and I was like, I don't remember how to get there. Even after a year, I was like, 440, what exit? And I also was like, so St. Louis has no traffic, like 0 traffic, compared to like what I'm used to here in Nashville or Atlanta. So I'm like, wow, this is great. So when I came back, I was like, oh, it's here. Okay, well, didn't miss that. But it's been fun just, connecting with people, and it's so great to know that we always have a home here. We always feel so loved, and all of you love our kids, which is so special and dear to our hearts. And we love this place. It's a home. It's weird. I came here and I was like, I feel like I never left. Like, it's weird when you've been somewhere and you come back. It's like a weird feeling. But it's been great to be back and just be with you guys for a time.
So today, Matt said, hey, what are you guys learning? What do you want to share? So I have a really simple, short thought, and we're going to kind of talk through in Matthew 5. It sounds like, Dave Mundy might be teaching through some of this in your guys' class afterwards. I don't really know. I was wondering if I could go and be a part of it. I don't know how that would work. I don't know how you would get me there the next couple weeks, but in Matthew 5 and verse 14, we've been learning, I feel like this last year, and we'll talk about it, but we've been learning how to just be a light. And and so in Matthew 5 and verse 14, it says, "You are the light of the world. A town built on a hill cannot be hidden. Neither do people light a lamp and put it under a bowl. Instead, they put it on its stand, and it gives light to everyone in the house. In the same way, let your light shine before others, that they may see your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven." It says, you are the light of the world. You are a town built on a hill, which cannot be hidden. You know, it says here that you are the light. It's something that you are. I am and I will be, right? It's a state of being, not a state of action. It doesn't say, go be the light of the world. It doesn't say, become the light of the world, or go and turn your light on for the world. It says you are the light of the world. You know, as I read this, I'm the light. I'm the light for the world. We are a city on a hill. It says we cannot be hidden. We are the light. I think often I feel like I have moments of turning my light on, and then moments where I forget to turn my light on. There are times, so often in my life, I have moments. Okay, here's the moment I'm going to share my faith. And here's the moment I'm going to be like Jesus in my family. And here's the moment I'm going to sit and open the Bible with my kids or my wife or these people, right? And here's the moment I'm going to do this. And I have these moments, these blocked, scheduled times that I'm turning my light on. But here it doesn't say to turn my light on. I feel like this year I'm learning, I'm working on not being a light switch, but being a light. A light is something that is constantly shining all the time, everywhere, wherever it is. Light shines. It's what it does. You don't have to do anything to it. It just shines. Whereas light switches, they choose when the light shines. Someone who is a light switch chooses when others see Jesus in them. A light switch chooses when people hear about Jesus, and they choose when Jesus is shown in their life. Whereas a light shows Jesus at all times, everywhere, no matter what. You know, I'm learning to be a light in everything I do. I'm learning that having moments of shining my light is not being who God made me to be. How do I live a life that can't be hidden? How do I live a life that illuminates at all points? To my kids, to those I'm around, to strangers, to neighbors, to whoever I'm at. I need to be a light.
When I think about how can I be a light at all times, like Kendall said, it's been very different. I had the third kid, so game changer, for real, guys. Kendall always says it was number 2 that really shook him, so the third one was like, okay. The third one was for me. And so I'm at home most of the time with all 3 children. And they're at such unique ages, 4, 3, and 1. So, and we, they have a little bit more free. They're kind of on the crazier side, I would say, in their personalities. And so it's easy for me to get super tired, super annoyed. I'm pulled on, I'm kicked. I just want the house to be clean, there's laundry forever. That never ends. Dishes, the ongoing. I'm like, oh my gosh, So it's just kind of it's easy to just sit in those feelings or those thoughts a lot of time. But I have a daughter who's 4 who sees everything, like everything. Finn and Ava, they're not quite there, but they're still watching for sure. So, if I sigh, Anna will sigh. I'm like, where is she getting? Oh, me. If she, sometimes I'm like, if you don't listen to me, Anna's like, Mom. And I'm like, oh, I taught her that. Okay, that wasn't ideal. All right. Or if I'm not choosing to, be patient, Anna's like, a commercial? What is going on? I'm like, it's a commercial, child. You don't even watch commercials that often when we're watching stuff. So I've learned that, like, wow, I'm really being watched. Sometimes I just want to come home, especially before kids, and I'm like, okay, whew, let's relax. And I believe in relaxing, don't get me wrong. But relaxing won't mean that my light goes off, that switch that Kendall's talking about. Because, I think it's easy to turn it off and on, especially at home for me right now. And it's really created some negative consequences. But I don't want my kids to have those. I don't want them to, be these ungrateful, spoiled kids. I'm like, oh, that's my job. I want them to be a light. And so I've had to learn a lot of, like, humbling myself. And so I apologize a lot. And so guess what? Anna learns to apologize a lot. I pray a lot. Guess what? Anna's learning to pray a lot. I'll pray and ask God for help. Anna's like, let's ask God, and her 4-year-old desires, or if I can choose joy, if I can choose patience. That's Anna learning to choose joy, to choose patience. But that intentionality is not easy by any means. But I really have to be a light at home with my kids, or even if I'm out and about with the kids, I want to be a light, Anna gets me. She keeps me in check. I'm not kidding you guys. Sometimes I'm in the car and we're driving. I'm like, oh my gosh, go faster. She's like, who are you talking to? I was like, okay, yeah, it's probably not a good thing to say. Got it. So her and I just have this dynamic where she's really like, we've created this, like, we're going to be kind to people, we're going to learn to be nice. We're going to learn to be patient. So she'll say, Mom, are you having a bad day? Where she knows this is not your fault, girl. This is mine. But it's great. She knows what's going on now. Or even, if she's like, hey, Mom, that wasn't very nice the way you said that. She keeps me in check, guys. It's kind of her personality. It's kind of like a aggressive leader, like, I'm going to do it. It's going to be me. Star of the show, which was really surprising. She came up here and she was so shy, and Finn was like, hello. Interesting. And so I think being at home has really taught me that, I'm a light to my kids wherever I go, the grocery store, the park. Let me talk to this person. Because Anna's like, I want to be friends with everyone and anyone who walks and talks. And so, so I just feel like I'm constantly reminded to be a light because of my kids, wherever I'm at. And it's not a switch. I don't get to turn it off and on. I don't want to turn it off and on. I want my kids to grow up and choose God one day. And I want to be this way because I love God so much, not because, I just want to, do the right thing. No, I really love God, and I want to be a kind mom at home, I also want to learn to let things go. My house doesn't have to be clean. It's okay. Just let it go. And just being okay with the different things that help me be a light, just figure out what those things are at home for me and when I'm out day to day to be that light wherever I'm at.
It is really interesting. Anna might be the best discipler we've ever had. But we want to be a light at all times. And, I think about parents, and it's, you can tell, like, kids can tell, like, oh, this is spiritual mom and dad now, and this is normal mom and dad, and this is the mom and dad who want to teach me about the Bible, and this is the one who actually real life, and we can do that so often. And we can do that in our lives. We can do it at work. We want to be a light at all times. In verse 15, so we want to be a light, right? We are a light. It is who we are, not something we do. But in verse 15, it says, people do not take a light and put it under a bowl. Instead, they put it on a stand, and it gives light to everyone in the house. In the same way, let your light shine before others, that they may see your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven. So as I'm learning, I want to be a light at all times. I think the other thing I'm learning is, how do I take my light and put it on a stand? How do I take my light and take the bowl? How do I get the bowl off my light? How do I put it on a stand? How do I make it so it illuminates the whole house instead of just a certain part? Me and Mackenzie had this, fight is the wrong word. We have this thing where there are certain lights in our house that I really don't like. And we have one in our bedroom, and it's like right in the middle, and it's really bright, and if I'm laying down and it's on, it's like right in my eye, like it's like looking at me somehow. And I really don't like this light because it's just too bright and it's in the wrong place. And but I like the side lamps because they have the covers on them, so I actually don't have to see the light. They're covered up. It doesn't hurt my eyes. I have light eyes. They're really sensitive. I'm a very sensitive person, and but it's that light. The light in our bedroom I really don't like. And there's a light in our TV room. And if I'm in the kitchen, our TV room, our living room, and our kitchen are connected. And so if I'm cooking food, the light is right where the TV is. And so it's blinding if I want to watch TV and cook food. And I just don't like it. If I could get rid of them, I would. That'd probably be a lot of work. But they're annoying because they're so bright. Like and they're not covered. And I think so often I want to be the nightstand that's covered up. That's a comfortable light. I don't want to be the one that's illuminating the whole house. I need to learn to put my light on a stand. How can I show Jesus to more people in more situations in my life? Not that I'm turning it on and off, but how do I influence more and more people in my life? I've been thinking, what's the use of being a light if no one is there to be illuminated by it? I always think every dad says this at some point, but your kid leaves their room and they leave the lights on and you say, turn the lights off, this isn't a Motel 6. Why? Because if the light is on and there's no one there, you're just increasing the electric bill. And so if we are shining our light in seclusion, we shine in vain. We're just running up the bill for Jesus. I think a lot, how can I put my light on a stand? This week, we came in Wednesday, and Thursday I was able to go to Jim Smith's dad's funeral, and down in Huntsville, and they told this story, and it was a really moving funeral. If you were there, it was very powerful, and I felt like I really got to know Jim's dad in a way I hadn't because I didn't know him, and it was really cool. And they told this story about how when he was around 60 years old, he was, just trying to put his light on a stand. And so he decided to go and coach a basketball team, kind of in the inner cities of Huntsville, which I didn't know there was an inner city of Huntsville. I thought it was just kind of like a small town. But there's an inner city, and he was like, I'm going to go coach a basketball team. So he started coaching this basketball team, and then he started meeting the parents. And from that basketball team, they started a church. And the church grew so much that very quickly they had to hire on someone to lead that church. Because he was just putting his light on a stand. He was just going, okay, well, how can I increase the number of people seeing Jesus in my life? He didn't do anything crazy. He didn't go and, downtown and start preaching on a little box. He's like, I'm going to go coach a basketball team. I'm going to go meet the parents. And people started seeing Jesus through his life. This is what being a light is. It's about putting it on its stand.
That was a ceiling fan, by the way, so that's supposed to be there. But I really appreciate this thought, even him saying, like, if no one's in the room, who's getting that light? No one is. It's just kind of there. And just this idea of like, okay, well, how do I do that? How do I do that? And it can be hard for me because it's easy just to focus on my little corner of the world, or even just my little 3 humans, and be like, this is what I got to do. They have this, they have that. Let's just focus on that, But I really think that is another aspect of being a light that I'm really learning. And so I think about like, okay, kids love to be outside. All right, choose to go to a playground where there are other kids and other parents, and meet them, especially when you're in a new city. You're like, hi, I'm new. What's your name? I have a very easy in right now. But even easier, I really do feel like moms are always trying to find each other in that season with little ones. But yeah, I get their numbers. Hi, how are you? What's your name? Oh, this is your kid. What's their name? How old are they? And you just start talking, and you just start, oh, let's have a play date. Oh, you live in my neighborhood. I went to a completely different playground far from my house, and someone from the neighborhood went to the same one. I was like, what are the odds? And so it's just kind of interesting, like, wow, okay, this is my life. I'm going to be who I'm going to be, and I'm going to just put my light on a stand in my life right now. It doesn't have to look a certain way. It's easy to go, for me to be like, it has to look this way, and that is the only way you can put your light on a stand. But no, this is my life. I have little kids. We're going to the park. We're going to all of the museums that St. Louis has to offer. There's so many free stuff. So I was like, okay, what's my season of life bringing? Let me put my light on that stand. Or even birthdays, or Anna and Finn's school. Let me meet people. And yeah, some people don't want to talk to me. That's fine. I'll move on. But I think like even not getting discouraged, like, okay, let's move on. Let's find the next person to be friends with, to influence, to whatever they need, that's okay. And it's funny, even an example, Anna has like this best friend at school, Harley. And so I met her mom, we went out to breakfast, blah, blah, blah. And so of course, she'd like to come to church. Oh yeah, that sounds like a good idea. Nothing really went from there. And then and we like had a few play dates. And then her mom like calls me or texts me. It's like, so Harley really wants to go to church with Anna. And I was like, I don't know what Anna has said about church, about anything, but Harley wants to go with Anna. Which then her mom was like, great, we'll be there next week. What's the time? So it's just kind of funny, like, wow, God really wants to use exactly where I'm at, who I am, this is who I want to be. God, use it, And so it's kind of funny. It's like me and Anna, our little team. And it's fun. We get to do it together too, and they're seeing that example, and hopefully it's planting a seed for them as well. But it's also teaching me to be a light, and not a light by myself, which is so great. We get to all be on a stand together and meet people, and so I think like that's been the thing that's really helped me is just being like choosing where I am in life right now to be that stand. Like, this is fine. It doesn't have to like go out of this box of my season of life and figure it out. This is your life. Here's the Bible. Now apply it. It's a simple concept. Sometimes can be very challenging. But so yeah, I think just this idea of like, wow, I'm at the playground, I'm at their school, or if there's a birthday, let's invite them, my neighbors, or how am I talking to them? Am I completely ignoring my light? Is it just kind of like shining that way and not shining towards them in these conversations or in these moments? And it's hard. Sometimes I'm like, well, nope, that wasn't really a great moment. That's okay. I'm going to move on. I'm going to try again next time, And so, yeah, I feel encouraged to continue to learn and grow in this area because I've just seen like, wow, God really will use me right where I'm at to be that light on the stand.
It's been really cool. I feel like it's been really cool having opportunities to be okay, to sit and think, how can we be more of a light? I think about I I loved wrestling. I've always loved wrestling ever since I did it. And so I was like, I'm going to start coaching wrestling again. And so I found this school. I emailed a bunch of schools, and one school wanted me to help. And so I went there, and it's been really cool. I just get to go there. I teach these kids, but then also, I get to be there for them. And it's been amazing the way that I've been able to show Jesus to these kids. One kid has been coming to church, every once in a while. He wants to study the Bible, and it's really cool because his whole life, people have been telling him he's the worst. And we could be like, no, and I remember we had a conversation. The reason he came to church, we had a conversation, and he's like, there's no way God is real. And he told this story about what this preacher told him, and about how, because of how wicked he was. And he's like, if that, and he was so hurt by Christians. And I was like, man, that's not right. So he came to church. He's like, this is different. He just saw something different. It was so cool. I think about, there were multiple kids on that wrestling team who, I'm the first man to tell them that I love them, and they're like, they lose, and they're like, I'm the worst, and I'm sorry, and they're apologizing to me, and I'm like, you're awesome, and you're amazing, and I love the effort you put in, and that's good enough. And they're just like, what's going on? And they're like, by the end of the year, by the end of 4 months, they're like, we're family. And it's amazing just how, I'm like, how can I just be a little bit more of a light? It's cool. 2 doors down from us is one of the city councilmen. And I'm like, we're trying to meet our neighbors. And I was talking to him, and he's really into politics. And if you know me, I'm really into politics. I'm not at all. And he's like, well, would you want to be on the city council? And I was like, yeah, let's do it, and so, he's talking to the mayor about trying to get me on some committees. And I'm like, well, maybe this is an avenue to be more of a light. And, not many 6-year-old white men really want to talk to me. And, city council is full of 6-year-old white men. Maybe this is an opportunity to talk to them. And then I've gotten into disc golf a lot recently. And I go and play disc golf to get away from people. That's my thing. How can I be in nature and just put my headphones in and relax and be away from, kids kicking me in the eyeball and poking me in the neck. How can I just be alone? But what I was thinking, I was like, man, I need to be a light. And so they have these kind of weekly tournaments, and I'm not very good at disc golf, but well, maybe I'll pay my $10 and I can be around 4 new strangers every week. And so every week I go, pay $10, I lose that $10 because I never win, and I get to be with 4 new people for 3 hours, and I get to tell them whatever I want to say, and they get to hear my life, and how can I be a stand? How can I put my light on a stand? I want to be a light, but also I don't know a lot of people. I'm not around a lot of people, so how can I be around more people? How can I influence more? They did a study recently that the average American influences 10,000 people in their lifetime. I thought about that, and I'm like, I definitely don't influence intentionally 10,000 people. Not intentional with 10,000 people in my life. I'm not on pace for that. How can I put it on a stand? If I could show the 10,000 people that I'm around, that I interact with, Jesus over the course of my life, that'd be an amazing life. We live in a time now where our world says it's okay to be secluded. That it's normal to do your thing, to live your life. Where it's easier to be alone in a lot of ways. It takes a lot of work now. Over the last 10 years, it's gotten easier and easier to be alone. But over the last couple years, it's almost difficult to be around people sometimes. A lot of us work from home, and then we have our family, and the check comes in the mail, and we can order groceries to our house, and you could literally never leave your room and live just the same life as everybody else. And I think for some of us, we're still in a place where we're kind of worried about that. Maybe it's cameras right here. Maybe you're worried about the outside world and when that's going to happen right now. You can still be a light. there's still a way you can put it on a stand. You know, with technology, there are millions of different ways that you could put your light on a stand, even if you can't go in rooms with people. You can be a light. You can show people Jesus. We just have to be intentional about it. We just have to be thoughtful about it. You are a light. It's already inside you. When you decided to make Jesus Lord and to follow him and to bring his kingdom here, you became a light for this world. Are you shining it to those around you? Or are you putting it under a bowl? You are the light of the world. It's who you are. We are a city on a hill. Don't put your light under a bowl. Put it on a stand. Let your light shine before men so they will see your good deeds and glorify God who's in heaven. Amen.